Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome. You're listening to Tech It Out, episode 370. Hope you're doing great today. Yep, it's mid-November already, so maybe you're getting ready for the holidays. I mean, Black Friday is coming up on the 29th, so around the corner. If so, lucky for you, our first guest on today's Tech It Out is with Slickdeals. It's an app, a website, and a browser extension, all designed to save you money. And so we'll kick off Tech It Out with a look at how Slickdeals works and what it can do for you. We'll be joined by Vitaly Pecharsky from Slickdeals in about 2 minutes. Speaking of the holidays, we'll end off the show today with Stephanie Humphrey, tech life expert, who will share some of her recommended gear for the holidays, gift ideas, like a photo booth themed portable printer, great for capturing memories with family and friends, and she'll share other gadgets with us as well. Also on the show, in between Vitaly and Stephanie, I get asked a lot about starting a podcast, how to do it, what gear do you need, how do you put it out there on podcast platforms? How do you get listeners to tune in? How to make money from podcasts? These are all great questions. And so I have the perfect guest on the show today. Her name is Amanda Cupido, and she wrote a book called Let's Talk Podcasting. So she'll be on the show today. It's the second edition of her book, by the way. And she'll join us this hour to share her tips and tricks to hosting and or producing and marketing a successful podcast. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out, powered by Intel Core Ultra PCs, which I'll tell you more about shortly. But let's officially kick off this new show with our first interview. Probably more so than any other website that I've used, Slickdeals has saved me the most money when it comes to shopping. That's a bold claim, I know, but it's true. And Slickdeals has helped me again just yesterday, which I'll tell you more about shortly. But to tell us all about Slickdeals and how it works, on the line, we've got Vitaly Pecharsky, head of deals at Slickdeals. Good to chat with you again, Vitaly. How you doing?
Great, Mark. How are you?
I'm well, despite being congested. It's just allergies. I feel great, but good to talk to you. I know it's an especially busy time for you, and I just quoted you in an article for USA Today, which got massive pickup.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Just to talk about the holidays, we are here. Retailers are not waiting. They don't want to wait till Black Friday and Cyber Monday and the holidays. They want your dollars now, and Slickdeals really can help. So let's start there. What is Slickdeals exactly?
Slickdeals is a website, an app, and really a large community under the hood. Slickdeals helps shoppers discover the joy of great deals. The platform brings together millions of shoppers who every day come, read, vet, upvote the very best deals from all of your favorite retailers like Amazon, Walmart, Dell, Lenovo, you name it. You can really find deals on anything you need from pantry snacks to camping equipment to AirPods, and actually be certain that you're getting the best deal right now. And if on your first or second or third visit, you don't find something that's interesting, come back again, make sure to check in, because every day we have hundreds of new deals.
And when you say vet the deals, let's just be clear here. So you have a community of millions of shoppers. So someone will say, hey, there's this TV that's normally $1,200, but at Best Buy, it's on sale for $799, a killer deal, and it's a hell of a TV on top of it all. So it gets vetted and voted on by other community members that say, yeah, this is true. And it's not just at bestbuy.com, but it's also at retail. So they verify that this is all accurate, that the sale isn't already over, and then it gets kind of voted up to maybe graduate to the front page.
Exactly. So when somebody shares a deal that they found, the users will do exactly what you described. They'll check that it's true, that it's not maybe regional stock, for example. And then a lot of the times they will start commenting about the actual merit of the deal. So it's not just about the price and where it's sold, but it's also about how good it is, right? Because honestly, there's lots of products that do the same thing, these days, right? And so people can say, oh, yeah, that's a great price for this TV, but if you don't need this functionality, there's an even better price for another one.
Got it. What's your favorite feature of Slickdeals? Mine is both the trending tab as well as deal alerts, which I want to talk to you about more in a moment. But for you, when someone stops you, I don't know, you're at a cocktail party, Vitaly, and they're like, all right, what do you like the best about Slickdeals? What would your answer be?
The two that you mentioned are some of my favorites as well, but I'm also a huge fan of our search. As I mentioned, we have hundreds of deals posted every day. And of course, many of them are what I would call perishable, which means they expire for one reason or another. Search gives me the opportunity to sort of go kind of back in time and understand if something that I'm trying to shop for is the best deal. And of course, if I'm looking for something specific, that search experience is just amazing, right? Because you can see kind of everything that Slickdeals has available, especially if you're in a shopping mode. You can refine the search. You can filter to only things that are positively vetted. You can filter down to pricing. You can filter them in specific categories or from specific retailers if you, for example, have a gift card to spend, right? And as you mentioned, right, like kind of one of the cool things about Slickdeals is we try to do things both in the moment as well as forward-looking. So if a search doesn't yield a result right away, Deal Alerts kind of steps in and says, oh, we don't have what you're looking for. So if you set up a deal alert, the moment we do, we'll actually let you know. So if you're busy and if you don't want to check Slickdeals, a couple of times a day, which I highly recommend most of your listeners do, then you can come back and get a notification or an email to get shopping done for whatever you were looking for.
So this is what I was teasing earlier. This is what happened yesterday, Vitaly. My listeners know I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan, the original series, and the Blu-ray discs of the original season of the show, again, 1959 through 64, they're as much as $50 or $60 a pop. And so I signed up for deal alerts on Slickdeals, and the site notified me that all 5 of these seasons have been as low as $6 a pop instead of over $50. And so I spent a total of $30 over the last few months on these discs instead of $250. That's a huge savings. Again, I wouldn't have known otherwise because I'm busy, and I just got an email from Slickdeals that said, Mark, this Twilight Zone thing that you're looking for, take a look. I'm paraphrasing, but I went to Slickdeals. I clicked the link in my email. It took me to those discs that I've wanted, now down to $5.99 a pop. I was so happy. That's an example of the amazing deals that you can get through Slickdeals.
I have exactly the same story. They just got delivered yesterday. I've been looking for not huge TV for my gym downstairs. And I did exactly the same thing. And I said, okay, give me a 4K TV that's 50 inches.
I like how you think 50 is not big. Like a couple of years ago, that would have been big, but yeah.
I know these days, not big is 50 and kind of big is 85 or 93. Those things are monsters. Walmart just dropped some of their Hisense 4K 50-inch TVs for $138 a pop. Wow. So I picked up 2. I was like, you know what? One of them will eventually go bad. Here's another one that I can just rehang right away if something happens to it. So.
Good point. And Hisense is actually better than some people think. I know it's more of a value brand in most cases compared to the likes of an LG OLED or a Samsung QLED kind of thing, or a Sony Bravia. But yeah, I've had an 85-inch Hisense, which I would call a big TV. So yeah, I agree with you there, for many years, and the color hasn't faded or anything like that. So I'm really happy.
And there's only 2 major manufacturers that make panels. It's LG and Samsung. So almost all of them still use the same panel. It's just the brains and the software that will be different.
We are chatting with Vitaly Pecharsky. He is head of deals at Slickdeals. It's a website, it's an app, and it's a browser extension as well. Again, the idea is to save you money when you're shopping online or at retail this year. Speaking of which, how are retailers trying to attract consumers this year? Are there any new strategies they're employing?
When we talked last year, it was very interesting. Most retailers started way early in 2023. We saw first Black Friday deals drop in the last 2 weeks of October, which put us probably well ahead of the actual Black Friday. This year, we see a shift. So while we had the early October Amazon Prime Big Deal Days event, lots of retailers piggybacked on that, launched competing sales or parallel sales. But this year, they were not as robust. And then B, we're also seeing much later start to the actual Black Friday sales. Walmart, for example, didn't start until this just past Monday, November 11th, which is 2 weeks later than the start of their Black Friday deals last year.
Why do you think that is?
It's hard to tell. I almost wonder if what they saw is just that kind of lackluster, maybe less of a spike that they want to see. And so this year they actually came out with a big bang, right? Like they had way more deals on day one that they probably had for the first 3 weeks of kind of their October into early November sales. Yeah. So I really wonder if it's that to sort of like generate a quick buzz as opposed to that, kind of like a slow roar that never really turned into a roar.
All right, Vitaly, we're just going to put a pin in this conversation for a moment. We're going to resume shortly to let our listeners know more about Slickdeals, all the different ways to take advantage of the features. At the end of the day, its simple mission is to save you money. But first, I wanted to give a shout out to Intel, the title sponsor on this program. If you're in the market for a new PC, there's never been a more exciting time. Thanks to extremely powerful devices infused with AI, plus longer battery life than we've ever seen before, countless designs like touch and convertibles that can turn a laptop into a tablet by simply bending it. There's stunning OLED displays and super thin and light form factors. As usual, Intel is leading the charge, now with brand new Intel Core Ultra PCs Series 2 laptops that are powering a new generation of portable PCs across more than 20 computer manufacturers. They can deliver much more performance, up to 80% more for gaming compared to last year's machines. Yet, amazingly, consume up to 50% less power to do so. This translates to battery life of more than 20 hours with some applications. By fusing a CPU with a GPU for graphics and a new NPU or neural processing unit, these Intel-powered Windows 11 laptops are capable of delivering better AI experiences. Intel.com has more. That's Intel.com. More with Vitaly from Slickdeals when we return on Tech It Out. We'll be right back.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. We're chatting with Vitaly Pecharsky. He is head of deals at Slickdeals. This is a website, an app, and a browser extension with one simple goal: to save you money, whether you shop online or at brick and mortar retailers. If you haven't used this platform, I highly recommend it because, why would you spend more money than you need to, right? So I mentioned the browser extension earlier. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, our browser extension does a couple of things. It, as many other browser extensions, it helps you find and fill out coupons automatically. So if you're shopping on your favorite site, Macy's or Kohl's or Walmart or Dell, and if you have something in cart, you can potentially save something extra by using that coupon auto apply functionality. But if you're a Slickdeals user, it is even more valuable. As you're shopping on all of those sites, we will quickly and contextually pop interesting deals for you that are available from those merchants. So you don't have to leave kind of your current shopping session, but still engage with the Slickdeals content, which, as we just talked about, is some of the best deals on the internet every day.
Before we wrap up, Vitaly, with Black Friday and Cyber Monday coming up, how do you recommend looking for last minute deals? Any tips you can impart on my listeners?
Throughout the years of being on Slickdeals and having seen many Black Fridays at this point, and especially in recent years, my main advice to everybody who shops early is if you see a good deal, don't wait, buy it. The main reason is right now, almost every retailer already instituted a very long windowed return policies. You can basically return most of your purchases all the way up to after Christmas or the day before Christmas in some cases. So let's say you found something that you are shopping for and it's within the price that you wanted to pay, get it. If between now and the time that you actually give this product as a gift or, put it under a Christmas tree and unwrap it, it drops in price, you can absolutely get it either price adjusted or returned. Oh, wow. And majority of merchants have been super accommodating. So I would 100% not wait. Number two, of course, use Slickdeals. Our community, as we talked about, vets and validates all of these deals and ensures that you're getting a great deal. And they'll even give you feedback saying, hey, there's these alternatives that you can also buy if you want to spend a little bit less or get some extra features for a little bit more. Obviously, if you're looking for something that's in high demand, AirPods, AirTags, most Apple products always come to mind. There's lots and lots of of history on Slickdeals, and the community, again, will sort of tell you about this of what is a good price for those. Things that are maybe more niche are going to be a little bit harder. The community is just very, very good about determining what's good and what's not. And what's even more cool is that they often will give you other tips on how to sweeten the deal even more, maybe using a rewards credit card or stacking an extra coupon code to save something else off the price.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to talk about stacking. Yeah, take advantage of rewards cards for, loyalty programs. Use a credit card with cash back or any other incentives. I use a Visa dividend, so I get back some cash in December. Yeah, so stack when you can, for sure. And your browser extension helps with the coupons, as you mentioned.
For sure.
And then finally, Vitaly, you already talked about a 50-inch 4K TV for under $140. Any other tech deals that you've heard about? You said Apple is really hot, but is there any sort of door crashers that you'd want to share with us?
There's probably 4 key things that I'm certain we're going to see this year. We talked about TVs, and you mentioned this, large OLED TVs, 65 to 77 inch right now is kind of the sweet spot of pricing. I am anticipating some really good deals on specifically the LG brand.
Great.
Video game consoles, there's rumors flying around that new consoles are coming out, and we've already seen finally discounts off of MSRP on PlayStation 5.
Yeah, now that PS5 Pro's out. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And so I anticipate the same thing happening to the Xbox. So kind of if you're waiting, kind of keep your eye out, and I'm sure you'll get a good deal. Digital subscriptions. We just wrapped up a annual Peacock subscription for $20. I anticipate that coming back not too long before Black Friday. So if you're looking for one, keep your eye out. As well as Hulu, and I'm hoping for a Max subscription this year too. Mine is about to expire, but they usually run a pretty good deal on Black Friday. And then lastly, to watch all of the content, streaming devices. Amazon usually will come out with their Fire brand devices as well as Roku. And I am guessing Google Chromecast with the most recent Google streaming device launch will be either discounted or they'll have a better sale on the streaming device as well.
You just brought up a good point that Slickdeals isn't just for gadgets, but also services. It could be flights. It could be hotel rooms. It could be streaming service deals. So don't look just for tech, for hardware, but also for services and software as well. And that includes things like VPNs and anti-malware software where you can get huge discounts by keeping your eye on Slickdeals. So best place to get going, slickdeals.com, or do you recommend downloading the app from the App Store? What's your recommended way to get going?
Depends on your preference. If you're mostly on the go, absolutely get the app. It will also enable the push notifications for deal alerts and the best deals of the day. I'm still a huge fan of shopping on the desktop just because I love to do my research, and doing research in addition to just looking at our community on a mobile device sometimes can be overwhelming. So really your preference. I use absolutely both. If you're more of a laptop or iPad person, use slickdeals.com, but our iPad app is also awesome.
All right, slickdeals.com, or download the Slickdeals app from the Apple App Store for iPhone or iPad, or the Google Play Store for Android devices. Great to chat with you once again, Vitaly. All the best. Hoping it's a very busy season for you at Slickdeals. I'm sure it will be. All the best.
Thank you as always, Mark. Appreciate it.
One of those deals, by the way, is a 2 terabyte external hard drive from WD Black. It's the P10 gaming drive, so it works with Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation 5, and Windows PCs. It's normally $99, but on sale for as low as $70, leading up to Black Friday and Cyber Monday. In fact, there's a special promotion as well because the P10 game drive comes in pink as well now. Love it. And there is a beanie that you can get for free if you buy any of the P10 drives. They go all the way up to 6 terabytes, by the way. That's a ton of storage. But regardless of the model that you buy, you can get this free beanie in white and pink. westerndigital.com has more. When we return on Tech It Out, let's talk podcasting. We'll have the author of the book with that name. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. Podcasting. It's a great way to stay informed, entertained, and engaged. Tens of millions of people already subscribe to them, whether they're audio-based, kind of like a modern-day radio show, or perhaps you tune into video podcasts. But have you ever thought about hosting your own? To help reduce the barriers of entry, we're joined on the line by the perfect guest for this topic, Amanda Cupido. Amanda has authored the book, Let's Talk Podcasting, The Essential Guide to Doing It Right. And this is the new second edition. And so, Amanda, it's great for you to join us again. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
All right, Amanda, let's jump right into it. At a high level, what is your book about? Yes, it's called Let's Talk Podcasting. So the name kind of gives it away, but please elaborate. And congrats again on it being the second edition.
Thank you so much. It's exciting. My first edition came out in 2018 and lots has happened since then. The book has 5 parts to it. So first, it's the foundation. We just go over the evolution of podcasting, who's listening, things like that. Second part is what's out there. We're going through some best practices from podcasts. If you've never listened to a podcast, no problem. There's some recommendations. But even if you are an avid podcast listener, I'm sure you're going to find some tips about new shows. Part 3 is what's next. It's a look ahead to the future of podcasting, some predictions from me. Number 4 is doing it yourself. This is where we're getting into all the tips, tricks, equipment recommendations. And then part 5, I pull back the curtain and I talk about how I made some of my most successful shows and I give you a behind the scenes look at what it entailed.
I like that. I don't know if that was in your original from almost 7 years ago, but that sounds great. So this new edition, it's obviously updated. Can you give us an example of some of that behind the scenes content that's in the new second edition of your book, Amanda?
Sure thing. I did do 2 behind the scenes moments in the first edition, but I've added 3 more. So also because I've done more in the podcast industry. And so one of them is highlighting behind the scenes on the making of The Forefront. I host this podcast. It's on its 5th season. And so we do a behind the scenes on what it actually looks like to make a narrative show. And when I say narrative, I'm talking about taking clips and script and weaving it all together. So it's a little bit more of a complex production process, but that's an example of someone who might be mid-career or looking to really up their game and wanting to learn more. And that will give them real insight on how that show gets made.
Awesome. When it comes to gear, things like, microphones and some have mixers and computers and all that, things have changed quite a bit, but I think there's a misconception that it's really expensive to get going.
Yeah, that's right. And in my book, I'm not talking about building your own studio by any means. This is meant to be for beginners. And so I'm just recommending microphones that I personally use. A lot of them are USB microphones that you just plug into your computer, pretty affordable, can range as low as $20 up to around $80. So these are some recommendations for beginners who are wanting to get started. And I also have some recommendations around software and what people can use to record into.
Yeah, I just use Audacity, which is free.
Exactly.
You use that?
So that is how I began, and I wrote that in the book. I did everything on Audacity for years. Currently now I'm using Adobe Audition. And so again, I sometimes put upgrade availabilities, or I talk about what I used to use and what I currently use so that people are getting a range and they can make a decision what best suits them.
I don't want to talk too much tech this interview, but I know that part of that software can even now detect things like breaths and remove them for you. So using artificial intelligence to make you sound great and save you time, because I manually now fix up my interviews afterwards by deleting words or removing breaths or balancing the audio level. So it's good to know that tech can help you out without breaking the bank. So we talked already a little bit about gear, but even before you buy a microphone and download software, how do you decide how to start a podcast? What's the first step? Figuring out what you want to talk about?
That's it. It's really that foundational element of what do you want to talk about and who do you want to talk to, defining your audience. I think sometimes people get excited about their guests, literally who will they be in conversation with, and maybe they'll even record something and then lose out steam. We talk about pod fade where people start strong and then slowly dwindle. I always recommend people take the time to map out what is season 1 going to look like? How many episodes are you committing to? Maybe you could even have an arc amongst those episodes and then get your branding, your name, your tagline, and some core basics like an intro and extra script, which I have templates in the book for people so they can plug and play. Yep. And have those foundational elements. So then once you start the actual production, you already have a roadmap.
Do you also have to decide, do you want it to be very interview heavy like my podcast is, or is it you just talking? Like there's different formats and different lengths as well, right? It's not like a radio show that has to be 60 minutes. It could be anything.
Exactly. And so we have a whole chapter about formats and what I call styles, because there are some subcategories of formats that there's not even words to this really. So I think this book, some of it is me, defining terminology for the industry because it's new and evolving. And so when it comes to high level formats, you nailed it. There's like a one person show, just one person talking, like comedians, chat cast, like what we're doing right now, narrative, which I alluded to, like the forefront. And then there's scripted. And when people use the word scripted, it can be confusing, but in the podcast industry, it means it's a fictional podcast. So it's like a scripted actors. But then we talk about styles, and that's like, an example of one style is always on versus seasonal. Right. So when we say always on, it means you're constantly publishing maybe once a week and turning it out like your show. Whereas seasonal might have 10 episodes and then you pause for the rest of the year and then you do another 10 episodes. Right. So determining some of those, I call, again, release styles within your format. Making all of these decisions is important so that you're not making it up as you go. And so I just lay them all out in the book and people can go through and see the pros and cons of each and then make a decision.
Awesome. We're chatting with Amanda Cupido. She's the author of the second edition now of the book, Let's Talk Podcasting, the essential guide to doing it right. Not just hosting your podcast, but also podcast appreciation and how to find ones that you like and subscribe to them all. Does your book cover how to upload it to various podcast platforms? So if you decide to host your own, I think a lot of people who ask me about it, they're like, do I put it on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Audible? Like, how does that all work? Is this something that you cover?
Yes. So what I talk about is hosting versus distribution, which is also a really good distinction to make. So where your audio lives, where are you uploading it to directly? And then where are you syncing it to, right? And so I talk about different options you have for where can you have that audio live, where is it hosted, and then the sync process is a one-time process. And actually that's pretty simple, but it does depend on where you host it. And so there's a lot of great YouTube tutorials and stuff on that to get that done. But I focus on picking the right host site because I think that's important and it's hard to switch once you've started somewhere.
When we return on Tech It Out, I'm going to ask Amanda how to decide if your podcast should be audio only or a video podcast. Stick with us. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. Have you ever dreamt of hosting your own podcast? Have you ever listened to one that you subscribe to and think, I could do this? Well, you can. And there's the perfect book to get you going. It's called Let's Talk Podcasting, the essential guide to doing it right. Who better to turn to than Amanda Cupido, an award-winning podcaster. She's been sharing lots of tips and tricks, ranging from the gear you need to get going, how to come up with your idea, what format should you go with, is it interview heavy, is it just you, is it daily, weekly, a 5-minute podcast, an hour-long podcast. You get the idea, lots of options. And speaking of which, how do you decide if it should be audio only like mine? I guess that's less ambitious than a video podcast.
I guess it depends, right?
Like everybody wants to be Joe Rogan, of course, and get a multi-million-dollar contract with Spotify or whatever. But realistically, you should start off with audio, right?
I think it's different for everyone. And I do think that making the distinction between audio only versus video is an important one. And that was also something that wasn't really in conversation when it was the first edition of my book. It really was only audio. Now the video element has definitely evolved. And so I mention, I call them video podcasts when I'm distinguishing the two, which I've noticed you've been doing too. So lots of people in the industry will deliberately make that comment. But I think it depends. If you are really wanting to build your audience on YouTube and that's where your audience lives, then maybe it does make sense to start with video and just build your YouTube channel. And maybe you even host your audio on YouTube, which they are encouraging podcasters to do right now. But there is something special to audio only. I'm biased. I have an audio only background. I do think the medium is more intimate and people speak differently when they're on just audio versus when they're on with a camera. And so I think you've got to really look at what kind of stories you want want to tell, and where is it best going to live, depending on all those strategic decisions.
All great advice, good tips there. Even Joe Rogan, not to knock him at all, because I think he's a great interviewer. It's just him and somebody else. Yes, you get the body language, you get the facial expressions, but it doesn't really need to be video, in my opinion. But yeah, so I think, again, audio is less ambitious to start. You need less gear, and you can see how that goes. It's good to know that your book covers that. And then finally, once you've got your podcast, and you may look at the numbers and it's like, oh, only a couple of dozen people. What am I doing wrong? Does your book cover how to spread the word about your podcast or how to monetize your podcast with sponsors and so on?
Yes, those are two separate parts of the book, and they're both covered. I think those are also areas that are quickly evolving. With regard to promotion, yes, we get into specific tactics. Even just how people are finding out about podcasts have changed. What's risen to the top now, if you look at the research, is that most people find out about new podcasts within their podcast players. And so podcast players have different promotional ways to submit your podcast to be featured. There's different tactics and positioning that you have to take into account, and different categories you might want to select. So there is a real art to that, to capitalizing on that trend of how people are discovering new shows within apps. And we talk about that in the book for sure. But then also monetization. The monetization game has changed drastically. We saw around 2018, I'm making comparisons to the first edition of my book, most people were monetizing either through Patreon and getting a lot of listeners to maybe give in a couple bucks, and then they were making money, or they were just selling ads directly themselves, baking it right into their audio. You know, they were recording it in the episode, a shout out, an ad, and that's how they lived. Now there's this rise of digital ad insertion where you can record an ad, it can get inserted for a certain amount of time, and then it's yanked out at the end of that campaign. So this technology is great because it allows you to sell an ad spot more than once, and then it does give more flexibility for how much ads can cost. And that's another way that you can also monetize without selling yourself. You can have the hosting platform sell for you. So basically, an example that I mentioned in my book is Acast. Acast allows you to host your show, and then if you would like them to place ads in your show, kind of like YouTube, how they put YouTube ads in, you can set markers in the back end of where would you like those ads placed, and if you hit a certain number of listeners, then they'll start inserting ads and do a revenue share with you.
Awesome. Again, if you want to just focus on your craft and not get involved in sales and all that, then this is a great option. And then finally, where do we buy your book? Again, it's called Let's Talk Podcasting, The Essential Guide to Doing It Right. Is it both paperback and an ebook as well?
That's right. You can get both. letstalkpodcasting.com is the best site to go to, and then you'll see all the options there. And we also have an audiobook coming out very soon too. So ebook, paperback, and audiobook. But of course it is on Amazon, so if you want to search there too, I have that linked on my website, but it's definitely available on Amazon as well.
All right. Again, letstalkpodcasting.com, or you can head over to Amazon. Our guest has been Amanda Cupido, Cupido. Congratulations, Amanda, on the second edition of your new book. I hope it does great for you. I hope it does really well.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Hey, don't forget, we're going to chat with Stephanie Humphrey, tech life expert, in a couple of moments about recommended gadget gifts for the holidays. But first, we cover cybersecurity a lot on this program and how you can best protect yourself in the digital age, even if you're not super tech savvy. One part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years, as much as $10 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B, to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. That's visa.com/security. Need some gadget gift ideas for a loved one, or hey, even for yourself? Well, stick with us. Stephanie Humphrey, tech life expert, will be joining us on Tech It Out when we return, because hey, Black Friday and Cyber Monday are around the corner. We'll be right back.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
Hard to believe, but the 2024 holiday season has officially kicked off. So now's the time to start working on your gift list, if you haven't already. To help us out, Tech Life expert Stephanie Humphrey is with us to shine a spotlight on what to put on your gift list this year. Hey, Stephanie, good to chat with you again.
Always good to be here, Mark. Thanks for having me. I partnered with some really cool brands today to help get your holiday ready.
All right. So with that in mind, why don't we start off with a fun gift for capturing moments, especially this time of year?
Absolutely, because you know how there's always a line for the photo booth at every party or event? Well, now you can bring your own to any celebration with the HP Sprocket photo booth. There's no need to rent expensive, bulky equipment. This portable gadget's compact and ready to use at any family event to capture all those special moments. There are lots of fun frames and filters to choose from, and you even get that countdown timer too. But the best thing is that it prints vibrant, glossy photos so you can save all of those memories.
Awesome. Yeah. HP Sprocket, that whole line of portable printers, a lot of fun. And yeah, who doesn't like those old shopping mall photo booths with the silly faces and you wait anxiously for it to spit out those photos? Boy, I'm dating myself. We should tell our listeners, Stephanie, that for all of these items we're chatting about today, we're not going to mention pricing on the air because there may even be Black Friday or Cyber Monday sales. So we're going to plug a website at the end to get links to all of these if you're interested. Next up, how about something for that budding chef in the family?
Yeah, perfect for the starter chef or a seasoned pro is the Cosori Turbo Blaze 6-quart air fryer. The Turbo Blaze has 9 different cooking functions like roast, you'll be able to air fry, you can bake and broil, and it has cutting-edge DC motor technology, so you always get quick and perfectly crisp dishes. Chefs will love the huge 6-quart capacity. It's large enough to cook a whole chicken, and its sleek, compact design saves space in your kitchen, so you can make almost anything, but still feed your entire family.
You had me at air fryer. Love it. That's my go-to, especially for reheating things as well.
Oh, it's the best for that.
Chicken wings, pizza. And it's so much more energy efficient than warming up a huge oven. We're now empty nesters. And so for my wife, Kelly, and I to heat up a big oven and wait for it, it's unnecessarily wasting time and energy. Air fryers are a way to go. All right. Before we talk about a couple more fun things, I know you've got something more, let's call it practical, a unique idea for guys this season.
Definitely, because I don't know any guy who doesn't want to smell amazing during the holidays. So here's something that they can pick up right now. Old Spice is hooking them up this holiday with their limited edition Holla Dudes collection so they can stay smelling fresh and festive all season long. The 2 awesome new scents, Snicker Doodle and Lumber Snack, provide 24/7 sweat and odor protection for an all-day holiday fresh feel. So now they can confidently rock that ugly sweater or brave the mall this Black Friday, and these are available at major retailers everywhere.
All right, so when they get in nice and close with family and friends in that HP Sprocket photo booth, they're not going to have to worry what they smell like after running around over the holidays. Okay, I hear where you're going with this. We are chatting with Stephanie Humphrey, Tech Life expert, to give us gift ideas ahead of the holidays, whether they be stocking stuffers or something to place under the tree. I think you've got 2 more ideas, some seasonal ideas that we should get right now.
I do, because it's not the holidays without lights, but the ones I have are not your grandma's Christmas lights. These are the Govee Christmas string lights too, and they make decorating a breeze whether you're indoors or outside. With just a tap on their app, you can transform your space into a magical holiday display with over 130 preset scenes. But the real magic is in the customization. You get AI-generated effects and music sync modes, but also this cool feature, which is shape mapping. So you can literally draw any design you want onto your Christmas tree using their app. So that adds a unique personalized touch this season. And if you're looking for the perfect toy that'll empower the child in your life, Mattel has 2 this season. The Barbie Dream Besties dolls encourage kids to share their unique talents with the world. You can check out Barbie Malibu, Barbie Brooklyn, Teresa and Renee as you've never seen them before. And and the American Girl 2025 Girl of the Year Summer McKinney doll will inspire your future entrepreneur. It comes with fun accessories and a journal that tells the story of Summer's small business journey.
Awesome. And those Govee Christmas string lights too, by the way, something Clark Griswold from Christmas Vacation wouldn't even struggle with. Easy to use, and I love it. And then a couple of Mattel ideas, Barbie Dream Besties and American Girl 2025. So as I teased earlier, Stephanie, there's a website that our listeners can head over to check out all of these items in action and also grab links and pick them up as well at their favorite retailer. What would that be?
Yeah, you can just head over to inthenews.tv for more info. And as you said, the links to everything I covered.
All right, inthenews.tv.
Thank you, Mark. Take care and happy shopping.
Thank you for tuning in to Tech It Out, everyone. Powered by Intel and its Core Ultra PCs Series 2. Have a great rest of your day. Looking forward to catching up with you next weekend for another new episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.